stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't. I'm Dave Michaels with this Crime Reports and Rewards special report. While CNN and other outlets of mainstream media's lead story is the disgusting performance of Miley Cyrus at the Video Music Awards, Obama is getting ready to start World War III. With the real news, here's Griff Griffin.
Syria. False flag caught on video. Video shows FSA rebels launch chemical attacks in Syria.
Consider our response to the use of chemical weapons. What we saw in Syria last week should shock the conscience of the world. It defies any code of morality. Let me be clear. The indiscriminate slaughter of civilians, the killing of women and children and innocent bystanders by chemical weapons is a moral obscenity. By any standard, it is inexcusable, and despite the excuses and equivocations that some have manufactured, it is undeniable. The meaning of this attack goes beyond the conflict in Syria itself, and that conflict has already brought so much terrible suffering. This is about the large-scale, indiscriminate use of weapons that the civilized world long ago decided must never be used at all, a conviction shared even by countries that agree on little else. There is a clear reason that the world has banned entirely the use of chemical weapons. There is a reason the international community has set a clear standard, and why many countries have taken major steps to eradicate these weapons. There is a reason why President Obama has made it such a priority to stop the proliferation of these weapons and lock
Now,
them down.
even WorldNet Daily has come out on their front page stating that there is hard evidence Syria gas attack work of U.S. allies. Will only mass activist calls to Congress and the White House stop World War III? You can contact the White House at 202-456-1111 and your congressman. Please let them know that we do not want World War III to end the lives of our loved ones here or the lives of innocent people in Syria and across the world. Nor do we fall for false flag attacks any longer. Americans have awoken, and we will not stand for these lies anymore. With the assistance of former PLO member and native Arabic speaker Waleed Shubat, WorldNet Daily has assembled evidence from various Middle Eastern sources that cast doubt on the Obama administration's claims the Assad government is responsible for the gas attack. The video you see now shows Free Syrian Army, or FSA, rebel forces launching a gas attack on a Syrian village. One of the images show canisters in the seized rebel arsenal from Jubar that appear to resemble the canister launched by rebel forces in the images above.
It is August 28, 2013. I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight.
Tonight, is America on the verge of launching another war based on bad intel? While new intelligence suggests Assad was not behind the chemical weapons attack, and the rising alternative media powerhouse takes on the public propaganda machine. All this and more on the InfoWars Nightly News.
The White House would like to believe that we have all but forgotten that the Iraq War was waged more than a decade ago after official sources provided bad intel. But now Kerry insists that the Assad regime was behind the chemical weapons attack in Syria, although he has yet to provide evidence of that fact. But now it is the Syrian officials who are saying that they have evidence that the U.S. aided terrorists in the chemical attack. Speaking to reporters outside the Four Seasons Hotel in Damascus, Syria's deputy foreign minister has now come out on record in declaring that the U.S., Britain, and France were instrumental in aiding the chemical attacks on Syria through a network of terrorists inside the country. He added that he had presented UN chemical weapons inspectors with evidence that armed terrorist groups had used sarin gas in all the sites of alleged attacks. The Syrian official now says that the next target will be Europe. Well, it'll be interesting to see just what evidence was provided to the UN. And we've been telling you that the U.S. was somehow involved with the chemical weapons attack in Syria, even if it was just arming the Syrian rebels who are affiliated with al-Qaeda. But now it is public knowledge that the U.S. has ties with terrorist groups. Anthony Gucciardi of StoryLeak joins me in the studio with more on that.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So tell me, who are we fighting with?
Well, the fact of the matter is it used to be a conspiracy theory that Obama and his handlers were arming the Syrian rebels, which are linked up with al-Qaeda, admittedly, and they go around flying al-Qaeda flags. But now it is public knowledge. It is on public record that we are funding directly al-Qaeda. And more so, we're actually funding the Syrian rebels who likely carried out, in fact, they did carry out the chemical attacks in order to launch war into Syria. So in fact, we have one piece here as well from The Independent. Does Obama know he's fighting an al-Qaeda side? And it says, he's fought for the very first time in history, the United States will be on the same side as al-Qaeda. It goes on to say the men who destroyed so many thousands on 9/11 will be fighting alongside the very nation whose innocents so cruelly murdered almost exactly 12 years ago. So what it comes down to now is, once again, we've seen this correlation where we're called conspiracy theorists, we're called crazy for saying that we're funding al-Qaeda now and we're going with al-Qaeda and aiding the Syrian rebels against Assad, against the regime that now the Syrian rebels are trying to destroy. But then, of course, a little bit later, about several months, 8, 9, 10 months later, the mainstream media now pushes it as breaking news. And you will see on this document it has 51,000 Facebook shares. That means it's been seen by probably millions of people, 4,000 tweets. So what that comes down to is, it's like when we say it, it's crazy. But when the mainstream media says it, we all better bow down and just immediately show everyone, oh my gosh, it's true. And they're surprised every time.
Exactly.
It's a pattern over and over again, and we're calling it 10, 12 months before almost every single time. And then the mainstream media is forced to admit we were right and cover it as if it's an exclusive breaking news piece when we've already known about it.
Well, now we've seen this quite a few times throughout history where the allies become the bad guy, but then there are allies again, and we're seeing this again.
Let's go back to the 80s for a minute. The recently declassified CIA documents, one of the things I also covered with you guys, it comes out now, it turns out, that we aided Saddam, helped Saddam with the CIA and Reagan at the time, and I mentioned earlier on the Alex Jones program, everyone hails Reagan as kind of a demigod. And he did some good stuff, but of course he helped fund and get ready of these chemical attacks on Iran on behalf of Iraq, because they needed to solidify an Iraqi win over the war. So we've seen before launching these chemical attacks and helping to do so as a pretext for full-scale war. So what's happening now is the same exact pattern. And I just want to talk about this. Syrian rebels pledge loyalty to al-Qaeda. And it says basically the rebels will go ahead and they'll join anybody at all, including al-Qaeda, who will help them to overthrow Assad. It doesn't matter if they're a terrorist organization. And then it also mentions that, yeah, the Western countries like the United States are funding all of this, and they're funding al-Qaeda now directly because the Syrian rebels team up with them. They say, the rebels in Syria have one common enemy, Assad, and they will collaborate with any faction allowing them to topple his regime. Now, something interesting, you actually brought this up earlier, Leanne. I have to give you credit for that. Check out what Carney said. I don't have it here actually, but Carney said, we're not trying to topple the regime. We're not going in to topple the regime. You know, we're just going to try and maintain peace, like they said with Iraq. But look at that statement. Anything to topple his regime. Direct contradiction.
Yeah.
The Syrian rebels are telling it as it is because they don't care. They're absolute insane al-Qaeda terrorists. They're going in to blow up everything. They're beheading Christians. Washington Times right here. They're beheading priests. They're burning Christian villages, innocents, using small knives. You know how specific and disgusting that is? Small little knives. It could be a butter knife. To slice off priest's head to dozens of cheering crowd members from the al-Qaeda/Syrian rebel group saying, yes, kill the priest. And they said that they basically, what they do is either you convert to a Muslim or whatever their distinctive Muslim culture is over there, or they kill you, or you pay a tax to where you get bankrupt and then they probably kill you anyway. That's what we're funding. That's who we're giving heavy weaponry. That's who we're saying are the good guys over there. And that's who now are working with Al-Qaeda on record, as they've now admitted. And how long have we been screaming about this? Some of the listeners are probably so tired of hearing about it, but it's just so important. And this is what's going to cause World War III. It's all about the Russian hot war right now, because they're backing Assad and we're backing the Syrian rebels.
It's just incredible. So are you going to do a full report on this video or something up on StoryLeak.com?
Yeah, definitely. I've done a few reports, and I've collaborated, syndicated off of Infowars.com a lot recently, but definitely more reports on this. Definitely how Syria is actually somewhat of a distraction, because even though it's such an important part, we're actually going in a hot war right now with Russia. No one's talking about this. The Russian media is talking about this because they actually, tell their citizens what's going on sometimes, because they see America completely different than us. But the foreign media, they're all over about how really this is a hot war with Russia. It was a proxy war, as the Independent and others have admitted, because we were funding the Syrian rebels versus the Russians funding Assad, and they were clashing. And we actually had Israel go in and blow up missile caches which were belonging to the Russians in Syria. So it's turned into a hot war scenario. Russia has 160,000 troops at the ready with naval ships and aircrafts and everything like that, heavy bombers on the lines of Russia. So it's turning into a hot scenario. The only thing is it possible to defuse it, or are the elitist control freaks just so far gone that they're willing to risk it all?
The Muslim Brotherhood has murdered their own people in every war they start to get foreign suckers like us to blow up their enemies for them. The rebels cleaned up all the evidence of who and where the chemical attack came from, but before they swept it under the rug, we saw pictures of these chemical weapons that could only have been placed or fired by the Muslim Brotherhood. Hey, let's start an intercontinental war with Russia, China, Syria, and everyone else in the Middle East that used to be on our side. What could go wrong?
Let's don't start World War III. For Griff Griffin and Leanne McAdoo, I'm Dave Michaels. Be the first to receive new updates. Follow us on the web with Facebook and Twitter. Go to www.crimereportsandrewards.com and click on the Facebook and Twitter icons to sign up. We'll be back with more Crime Reports and Rewards after these messages.
I'm only gonna try meth once. I'm not gonna be like that guy. Hey, look, I'm only gonna smoke meth once. I'm not gonna be like that guy. Look, I'm just gonna shoot up just once. All right, I'm not gonna be like that guy. I'm not gonna be like that guy.
I'm only gonna do meth once. I'm not gonna end up like that guy.
I'm Dave Michaels with this week's edition of Spot Crime, where we highlight crimes reported in the CSRA. We've had 75 assaults around the CSRA. These took place on the 3800 block of Old Waynesboro Road, the 3200 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 3300 block of Tanglewood Drive, the 2100 block of Division Street, the 900 block of Walton Way, the 4700 block of McCombs Road, the 3400 block of Ravenwood Drive, the 3300 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 1700 block of S.E. McIntyre Boulevard, the 3600 block of Arlene Court, the 900 block of Beeman Street, the 2300 block of Caribbean Court, the 2500 block of Waterfront Drive, the 500 block of Fairhope Street, the 2600 block of Cairo Drive, the 1900 block of Walker Street, the 4200 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 3600 block of Sedan Drive, the 2000 block of Greenleaf Way, the 1900 block of Moore Road, the 200 block of Telfair Street, the 1900 block of Neptune Drive, the 3500 block of Oakview Place, 8th Street, the 4000 block of Brothersville Road, the 1500 block of Pies Court, the 400 block of East Boundary, the 3900 block of Bowen Street, the 1400 block of Sycamore Drive, the 800 block of Walden Hills Court, the 2300 block of Central Avenue, the 1200 block of Fuller Street, the 1000 block of Clausens Road, the 3000 block of Stony Drive, the 1000 block of Almeen Way, the 3000 block of Anderson Avenue, the 1000 block of Green Street, the 200 block of Magnolia Avenue, 2nd Street, the 500 block of Eve Street, the 2000 block of Walton Way, the 1400 block of Pinnacle Pines Court, the 700 block of Lanchester Road, the 3500 block of Wheeler Road, the 3000 block of Washington Road, the 2000 block of Wilds Road, the 2600 block of Blueberry Drive, the 2500 block of Richmond Hill Road, the 1600 block of the Gordon Highway, the 2500 block of Nordell Drive, the 1500 block of Abbey Way, the 200 block of East Telfair Street, the 900 block of Bennick Mill Road, the 3500 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 4100 block of Kevin Drive, the 400 block of Hale Street, the 2000 block of Plantation Road, the 3400 block of Wood Valley Place, the 2500 block of Lumpkin Road, the 1700 block of S.E. McIntyre Boulevard, the 2200 block of Rozier Road, the 1000 block of Green Street, the 2500 block of Railroad Avenue, the 1300 block of Cherry Avenue, the 100 block of Brandywine Place, the 1100 block of Peters Road, the 4100 block of Kevin Drive, the 1700 block of the Gordon Highway, the 1300 block of Baker Avenue, the 3400 block of Forest Road, the 3000 block of Washington Road, the 1800 block of Wild Road, the 1100 block of Turpin Street, the 3100 block of Skinner Mill Road, and the 3400 block of Brightsboro Road. We've had 42 burglaries around the CSRA. They took place on the 1800 block of Tobacco Road, the 1500 block of Brookstone Road, the 2500 block of Anthony Duane Parkway, the 3600 block of Larkspur Drive, the 1700 block of Kissing Bough Road, the 2800 block of Deansbridge Road, the 1900 block of Neptune Drive, the 2800 block of Colnea Road, the 1100 block of Russell Street, the 2300 block of Plague Court, the 2600 block of London Boulevard, the 3600 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 3900 block of Bel Air Road, the 4000 block of Pinnacle Way, the 4300 block of Poteet Street, the 2000 block of the Martin Luther King Boulevard, the 3000 block of Mistletoe Avenue, the 600 block of Macon Avenue, the 2200 block of Walden Drive, the 1800 block of Claystone Way, the 100 block of Davis Road, the 4200 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 2600 block of Shelby Drive, the 2300 block of Harding Road, the 2100 block of McDowell Street, the 1400 block of Highland Avenue, the 600 block of Wrights Avenue, the 1000 block of Alexander Drive, the 2200 block of Rozier Road, the 1000 block of Almeal Way, the 3800 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 2500 block of Carriage Creek Court, the 1100 block of 7th Avenue, the 600 block of Cambridge Drive, the 3600 block of Chikara Court, the 1900 block of Howard Avenue, the 2100 block of Hepzibah McBeam Road, the 2400 block of Mims Road, the 2500 block of Bridgeover Avenue, the 2900 block of Howell Road, the 1700 block of S.E. McIntyre Boulevard, and the 1900 block of Rosea Street. We've had 7 robberies. They took place on the 2600 block of Convent Place, the 600 block of St. Andrews Drive, the 1600 block of the Gordon Highway, the 500 block of East Boundary, Garden Springs Lane, the 2500 block of Drayton Drive, the 1100 block of Green Street. We've had 2 charges of damage to property took place at the 300 block of Church Street and the 1900 block of Neptune Drive. 4 charged with reckless conduct on the 2400 block of Amsterdam Drive, the 100 block of Temple Street, the 1400 block of Cavalier Drive, and the 2500 block of Madrid Drive. If you know anything about these crimes or any other crimes, please text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you'll always remain anonymous, and you tell us where to stack your cash reward.
The Richmond County Sheriff's Office reports an Augusta man was shot on 3rd Avenue in Augusta Tuesday, August 27, and passed on at the hospital. 31-year-old Charles David Davis Jr. was identified as the victim. Police say that at this time they have no suspect. Deputies were called to the 2100 block of 3rd Avenue about 11 p.m. Tuesday night after a Crime Stopper reported gunfire. Police found Davis 1 block away on 2nd Avenue where he had collapsed after running from where he was shot on 3rd Avenue. Davis was transported by ambulance to GRU Hospital where he later passed. This is Richmond County's 3rd homicide for 2013. If you know who the shooter is, please call Major Scott Peoples at 706-821-1080 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and you tell us how and where you want to be paid. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is searching for a suspect in a shooting that occurred at 940 13th Avenue. Investigators say that the suspect shot 48-year-old Bernard Peterson in a possible attempted robbery. The suspect is described as a light-skinned black male in his mid-20s with tattoos on his arms and chest. The victim was transported to Georgia Regents University with a gunshot wound to the stomach with what is considered to be a non-life-threatening injury. However, if you've ever been shot in the stomach, you might disagree with that. Know who this light-skinned black male tattooed shooter is? Please call Major Scott Peoples at 706-821-1080 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and you tell us how and where you want to be paid. Now for an update on the Hester Jackson murder, Richmond County Sheriff's Office Lieutenant Blaze Dresser called a press conference on the 2700 block of Willis Foreman Road to announce a cash reward of up to $9,000 for the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the murder of 56-year-old Hester Jackson. Police are still searching for the shooter or shooters responsible for killing Mr. Jackson as he arrived home on Willis Foreman Road. Those who knew him say Jackson was a quiet gentleman who kept to himself and recently married a woman from North Carolina. AugustaCrimeStoppers.org has added another $1,000 reward payable upon the arrest of the shooters, so any witnesses that may come forth will have cash now and later should a conviction occur, bringing the total amount of the reward in the Hester Jackson case to up to $10,000. Okay, you guys are offering $9,000. We just added another $1,000 to it for Augusta Crime Stoppers. So now you can tell people that the reward is up to $10,000 total. Okay? Is there anything I would like to tell the whole world? Who do you think did this? Just what do you think? Who, what, where, any clues? If you have any information about the Hester Jackson murder as he arrived at his home on Willis Foreman Road, please call Lieutenant Blaze Dresser or Investigator Calvin Chu at 706-821-1020 or AugustaCrimeStoppers.org at 706-722-1010, where you'll always remain anonymous and get a cash reward.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
A recent shooting sign of growing gang violence in Richmond County, police tell the Augusta Chronicle's Bianca King. Authorities say they fear that the recent slaying of a teen points to growing gang violence in Augusta. Gang graffiti was spray painted at the intersection of Loftwood Drive and Brookshire Road. Investigators estimate that Richmond County has several gangs. Dijon Cortez Abbott, 17, was charged with murder, aggravated assault, and a weapons violation in a fatal shooting in July on East Kensington Drive. 19-year-old Marquez Eubanks died after being shot at that house party on East Kensington Drive on July 18th, and 2 others were wounded. The man police arrested in that homicide, Dijon Cortez Abbott, is a member of the South Augusta gang 23rd, which is warring with another gang called 600 or 600. Lieutenant Jason Vinson, who worked with the FBI's gang unit before coming to the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, said shootings related to gang activity have become more frequent and are escalating more quickly from physical fights to gunfire. Vinson said he's seen gang members getting more brazen about their allegiance recently. Instead of hiding the gang colors, they're flaunting them and getting t-shirts and hats made to show that they are gang members. The number of gangs in Richmond County is not clear, investigator Ashley Fletcher told the Augusta Chronicle. Every little or big neighborhood seems to have one, she said. Most of the gangs are comprised primarily of teens, but some of the more established ones have older members who are related to the younger ones. Barton Village's OWTT, or the O-Dubs, have been around since the 1990s and is one of the largest. The parents of the grown people I was investigating would claim to be members, Vincent said, of the group that is estimated to have more than 100 gangbangers. 2 of last year's homicides were determined to be the result of gang activity. Danielle Hicks and Tremaine Jones were both fatally shot at the River Glen apartments within a month of each other. Police said the second death was retaliation for the first. Some of the gangs are considered smaller chapters of larger national gangs such as the Bloods, Crips, and Folk Nation. Devon Harris, who meets and speaks with gang members across the Aiken and Augusta area, says sometimes the only thing standing in the way of someone leaving a gang is finding steady employment. But dealing drugs or stealing items to resell are sometimes easier for a recovering gang member than moving on. Up to 75% of crime in any city is gang-related, Harrison estimated. They have to survive. Richmond County Sheriff Roundtree said he's working to create a gang task force that can prevent criminal activity. One of my main goals is to prevent young men from entering into crime or winding up in prison or dying in the streets, Roundtree said in an email. We understand that youth violence is a major problem in our area, and for years we have seen a steady increase in gang-related incidents. Our goal is not just to stop the cycle, but to break it. If you know of a gang crime, please call 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or text your tip to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you can always remain anonymous. The rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers how you want to be paid.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.